Almost 1 million children die each year from complications associated with preterm birth. In low-income and resource-limited areas such as Afghanistan, India, Sub-Saharan and Central Africa, premature birth is the leading cause of death. Half of the babies born at or below 32 weeks die due to breathing difficulties, such as respiratory distress syndrome. The RESPI project aims to improve survival rates by developing cost-effective breathing devices that can be used in rural areas with these limited resources. The ideal solution would be to design a device that can be utilized anywhere in the world at the lowest cost possible. The device would need to have tubing with binasal prongs, which would be connected on one side to an oxygen supply. The other side of the tubing would be immersed in water to generate enough pressure so that the child receives an adequate oxygen supply. The PACE activity I was involved in was quite challenging, as much of what was required of me was self-driven and self-motivated. The team involved in the RESPI project did not have a thorough amount of data about CPAP devices, and did not know the most appropriate way to implement these devices in rural environments. This PACE activity greatly improved my critical and analytical thinking, my problem-solving skills and research capability, communication skills, and also greatly enhanced my commitment to continuous learning. The task at hand required me to investigate stats and gather as much information as possible. As a lot of this research was self-guided, it was quite overwhelming to see the amount of information that needed to be consolidated. I turned towards researching as much as I could about the CPAP devices and their efficiency in treating premature babies. The general consensus was that these devices reduced the chance of neonatal death by 48%. The next obstacle that needed to be tackled was investigating the economic climate of countries that had such high mortality rates in preterm babies. This involved collating data from 57 countries into a spreadsheet to produce charts and graphs that demonstrated what was happening in countries in terms of health expenditure. My critical and analytical skills were challenged in this process, as I was trying to determine the best way to study why such economically similar and resource-limited countries had such variance in their neonatal mortality rates. After a vast amount of research, the data collated displayed a correlation between low health expenditure and high neonatal mortality rates. As highlighted previously, communicating your findings in a succinct and concise manner is extremely challenging. However, I believe my communication of science and additionally communication between team members on this project was greatly improved during this activity. Representing all the research graphically enabled a much easier interpretation of the correlation between health expenditure and mortality rates, and also provided the team with further guidance on how to most appropriately implement the CPAP device with the lowest cost. During the project, it was also required of me to maintain ongoing contact with the team from different organizations who are also involved in this project, as we were all situated in different locations. Being able to maintain ongoing communication and ensure everyone is on the same page is a skill of mine that has been greatly enhanced, and it is one that will enable me to build ongoing and efficient client rapport in future scenarios. My greatest weakness professionally and personally is my desire to please everyone. While this quality always enables me to tackle every task to the absolute best of my ability, it can be hindering in the long term as it is very unrealistic to please absolutely everyone. I find I end up with too many tasks on my plate that I want to perfect, and this can be quite overwhelming when there are deadlines to meet. I try and manage this by prioritizing certain tasks into categories and also reminding myself that it is okay to say no to some things, or even ask for help when it becomes too challenging.